Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. Thank you for watching us today. My name's Rich Tarani, coming to you from San Jose, where we have on our program Tom Lounibos, who's the president and CEO of Soasta. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Rich. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I was very interested to have you back on our program. We spoke in probably around the March time frame.
Back in New York.
Yeah, in New York at the Cloud Show, and now it's July 14th, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about your CloudTest platform and how it's doing.
It's continuing to explode. I think what we're finding out there is that more and more companies that are reaching out to consumers around the world through their websites are more and more concerned about their performance of those websites, making sure that they're not slow and that they work and they function. And so the category we created back in 2006 that we call cloud testing is becoming an explosive area within a $59 billion market called software testing. And so we're really, really excited.
And so the concept is that rather than hosting all of the servers that you would need to test, and when you talk about some consumer sites where they would have to simulate millions, or in some cases tens of millions of consumers, in some cases hundreds of millions of consumers, you would tap into a cloud-based network of testing computers that would simulate users, right?
Right. You know, I think what we're all kind of learning is that the way we consume, whether it's through iPhones or iPads or Androids or what have you these days, consume products is through these web applications. And there wasn't a really effective way of testing these applications. We learned how to test client-server applications back in the 80s and 90s with products like Mercury and Rational and Silk, and those were great products for their day, but they could only simulate hundreds of users at a time, where these newer applications are driving huge amount of customers to sites. I'll give you a couple examples. You know, there are some traditional ones like TurboTax that on April 15th, they'll get anywhere between 100,000 and 150,000 concurrent users hitting their site at 10:15 at night as we all file our taxes right at the end of April 15th. And then there's other sites like Denny's, who goes onto the Super Bowl and does a Super Bowl commercial and offers a free breakfast to every American. And they had 59 million Americans go to their website within 4 hours of the Super Bowl. And so you don't want to spend $50 million on a Super Bowl ad and then have the site go down when the 500th person goes to the site. And so what we do is we help those customers by using the cloud, leveraging the cloud, by simulating users either filling out a registration for a free breakfast at Denny's or filling out an tax form for the federal government. We're able to simulate that, provision a bunch of servers, and that's what you need to generate the massive amounts of load that real-world applications are seeing. And we do testing while monitoring the application performance, monitoring the application deployment stack, the load balancers, the firewalls. And as we go through that, we find problems of latency and stress, and hopefully we fix them before they go live and that site performs the way that marketing and salespeople want them to.
So if you're hitting a site with, let's say, simulation of 1 million users, do you need to measure each of the 1 million users, or is it every 10th or every 100th, or how do you?
Yeah, you kind of ramp up. You know, you don't want to. Some customers actually do like to burst amount, but you want to ramp up the load as you go and see if there's problems as you move up the stack towards 100,000 or 1 million users. And then you level out at certain points of time as you ramp down. And what we find is that there's a lot of times there's obvious problems when you get to peak volumes, but more often than not we find problems on the way up where certain components of the applications have been built differently and maybe aren't ready for stress beyond 10,000 users as an example. And then some are actually not very good on the way down. As more and more users come off, it takes out some resources and such. And so every application is different, every deployment environment is different, and that's what I think is exciting about what's going on. It's not, you know, our approach to testing, cloud testing with Soasta is very unique. But I think what's more exciting and bigger than us as a company is what people are doing with applications today, and the fact that, you know, we're all consuming using mobile apps, and the performance is going to be pretty important. So we're learning how to build performance and scale into our applications much better than we ever have in the past.
Now, you said testing in the cloud is the killer app, and Mark Benioff might say that it's CRM that's the killer app for the cloud, and
Fair enough.
Google might say it's Office apps
Yeah.
in the cloud. Uh, I tend to agree. It seems like if you have to pick one discrete application, which seems to make the most sense, but you just can't, because of just the nature of the burstiness of it and the necessity
Yeah.
to do massive tests on a infrequent basis, I guess.
Well, it's one, nice to be associated with Mark and Salesforce.com and Google, who are really great, great companies, and certainly their enterprise applications of CRM or email, those types of things are really big time enterprise applications. But what's different about our application is that lots of our users that we're delivering this a million users, virtual users hitting a site, only use 50 or so servers. We will need 1,000 servers any given day. Any given day, I'm looking between 5,000 and 10,000 servers, cloud servers, to generate the load. I think that's the uniqueness. The testing process is so CPU and core intensive, it needs an enormous amount of compute power to simulate real world or global communities of consumers. And that's probably the big difference. And then the next thing is that our burst that we need is only over a 6 or 7 hour period, and then we tear it down. And what the beauty of the cloud and really on-demand models are, like CloudTest, is that you're only going to pay for the amount of testing hours you use, and you're not having to build a huge test lab in the back room that you're going to have to maintain over the course of the year when you may only use it 12 times a year.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the beauty of really elasticity of cloud computing and cloud testing in particular. And so, yeah, I think it's a killer app, but I don't have to be the winner here. I think this is more what folks have looked at Soasta about is the fact that so many enterprise customers, whether it be Hallmark or Mattel or Zappos or Netflix, are using cloud testing from Soasta as a way of providing a better customer experience. And there's not a lot of enterprise applications outside of CRM or outside of email that actually do that and provide such a rich ROI back to the enterprises like Soasta and CloudTest do. And so we're very proud of where we're at, and we're very proud to be associated with Google and Salesforce.com, so thank you.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll continue to grow your company, and one day they'll be happy to be associated with you, right? So if they're not already.
Hope so. Yeah. Well, we are actually partnered with them in some ways.
Okay, so that's a good sign, right?
Their successes are pretty amazing, as we all have seen. But I do think, the software performance environment or software testing space is a huge market. It's $59 billion estimated in 2013, and I think it's just going to get more and more, bigger and bigger, because
Agreed.
there's over 500 million consumer-facing applications right
Sure.
now, and growing. So yeah, I think this market's going to be huge.
Well, with that, thank you so much for being on the program, and good luck in the future.
Great seeing you.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.